Hey everybody, welcome to the Sharpening Report. So I got a special episode for you today. In the first half, I'm going to play for you an interview that I participated in with Gary Stearman from Prophecy Watchers. And in that, we talked about CERN and the dark occult roots of CERN, some of the history of CERN. And it's a really excellent interview. I think you're going to get a lot out of it. And then after that, I'm going to talk about CERN in Bible prophecy. And that information comes from my new 2-book set called The Final Cataclysm. You can find that, I believe, at the time. Well, at the time of this recording, it's not up at prophecywatchers.com yet, but probably by the time this airs, it will be. So go to prophecywatchers.com. If you want like the Kindle or the audiobook or anything like that, you can get that on Amazon. I do have links to all of that in the description below. So make sure you check that out. So yeah, all the information in the video, the information from the interview, and what I'm going to do in the second half about CERN and Bible prophecy, all of that comes from the new 2-book set, The Final Cataclysm. So, and the subtitle is Supernatural Signs of the End Times. So I highly suggest checking that out. Without further ado, here is my interview with Gary Stearman. Check it out.
Hello and welcome to Prophecy Watchers. Josh Peck joins us today, an expert on the mysterious activities happening at CERN. Josh is one of 17 speakers who will be joining us in Orlando, Florida for 4 days of sunshine, blessing, and encouragement. Join Mondo Gonzalez, L.A. Marzulli, Billy Crone, Jonathan Kahn, Tom Hughes, and many other Bible prophecy experts for the latest cutting-edge information straight from the pages of the Bible. A few tickets remain for the March 27th event, or stream the entire 4-day event from the comfort of your home, the next best thing to being there. Visit us at prophecywatchers.com for the details. Now, here's Gary Stearman as we examine the controversial subject of CERN.
Hello, I'm Gary Stearman, and this is Prophecy Watchers. Today we have a very special guest. His name? Josh Peck. And Josh, you're no stranger to Prophecy Watchers. Tell us about your connection with our ministry.
Oh, yeah. Well, shoot, we've known each other for years and years and years, even before coming to work here. So I've been here, maybe almost a year now. Actually, by the time of our Orlando conference in March, I'll have been here a year. But we've gone way back, years before that. We've been working in ministry together for probably close to a decade now.
Right.
So yeah, it's been a very long and amazing friendship, and I'm very grateful for it.
Glad to have you here. And by the way, Josh is a great writer. He has put an article in our February 2025 Prophecy Watcher. And the title of the article, and it may run past you when you first hear it, but we're going to explain what it's all about. Ancient Connections to CERN. Capital C-E-R-N. Now, what does that mean to people who have no idea about CERN?
Well, CERN is basically, today's CERN is the organizing body of people that run what's called the LHC and other machines as well, but it's basically a big particle collider, the LHC, the Large Hadron Collider. So you have CERN, which is just the people that manage the machine, and then the machine itself is the Large Hadron Collider. It's like how NASA manages rockets. And NASA is the organizing body that deals with the rockets. Rockets are the actual machine. So the LHC is a big particle collider. They run all sorts of experiments and things there. And lately...
Okay, a couple of questions.
Absolutely.
People listening, what, collider? What? and where is this thing located exactly?
It's on the border of France, and it's the largest machine in the world. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to recreate the... in the way that they would explain it, the scientists there, which are largely atheistic. There's a few Christians that work there and other people of other religions and stuff. But the way that they would explain it is they're trying to recreate the initial conditions of the Big Bang to discover what the origin of the universe is and how it all happened. Now, of course, we as Bible-believing Christians know how it happened and we know the origins. But they're trying to find something scientifically.
In fact, the Big Bang theory goes back several decades to people who were trying to understand, physicists trying to understand how the universe was created.
Yeah.
And of course, we as Christians have an idea because we've read the Bible.
That's right.
But science wants to apply scientific methods.
That's correct.
To get back to the very beginning and find out how all of they call it the Big Bang, and they've called it many other things, this giant explosion that created the heavens and the earth. Well, the Bible says something about God having done that.
That's right.
But CERN is you called it a Large Hadron Collider. What it is an underground tunnel. And this tunnel can be used to speed electrons in a circle, and they go the speed of light.
Pretty close to it.
Yeah. And when they do, and when you engineer a collision between these highly charged particles in this underground tunnel, what are you supposed to find out?
Well, what happens is when they slam two particles together, it sends energy into these other fields, possibly fields that we haven't discovered yet. And if you send enough energy into a field, it'll produce a particle. So then they have detectors, and then sometimes they can catch a particle that hasn't been discovered yet. One of the biggest, most recent ones was in 2012 when they discovered the Higgs boson for the first time. And so it had been hypothesized before.
Boson, let me just interrupt you for somebody's boson? What's a boson?
It's just a type of particle.
It's a type of particle.
Yeah.
And very specific, named after a scientist, Dr. Higgs.
Yeah.
And this Higgs boson supposedly gives us a clue as to how everything was created in the beginning.
Yeah, and even how everything works today. What was amazing about that discovery is it showed that mass, what we think of mass as like substance. Mass is actually just an interaction with a quantum field. And so when you interact with the Higgs field, the more you interact, the more mass you have. This is why, Einstein said when things approach the speed of light, they actually gain more mass. The reason for that is the faster you go, you're interacting with the Higgs field even more, so you're going to pick up more mass. So it shows that mass is an interaction. It's not just substance the way we think about it. So they do make some interesting discoveries there, but that doesn't mean that everything is all on the up and up.
Now, having laid the foundation here, why are we interested in ancient connections to CERN, which is the title of Josh's article? Well, here's why we're interested, because it speaks volumes about what mankind is doing today that was predicted in the Bible for the latter days. And the people who have built this huge machine have assigned to it great power, not just electronic power or whatever kind of power you generate and project into that circular tunnel, but I guess you would say that the power to connect man with his spiritual history. And how long ago was it that there was the supernatural march when people dressed up in costumes and
the
marched?
Gothard Tunnel. I don't remember the exact year, but it was a few years ago. And I remember when Tom Horn was alive. He and I were writing a book together about that. And he dealt with the Gothard Tunnel opening. And people can go and watch it online. I would suggest praying before you do and making sure you're spiritually covered.
Was a dark,
satanic,
of spiritual observance. People marching in costume around the CERN apparatus and around the whole grounds there, which they consider to be kind of sacred.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the thrust of your article.
Yeah, because even in ancient times, when they were first building CERN, they had to stop construction because they found ruins of an old Roman city called Apolliacum. This place not only venerated Apollo, which when we read Revelation 9, that connects with Apollyon, Abaddon, but they also believed that the bottomless pit was located there, whatever that meant in Roman culture. But so this has led certain people to connect that with Revelation 9 and the opening of the bottomless pit and make people wonder, well, could it be that CERN might have something to do with the fulfillment of that prophecy in the future? Is something that CERN is doing with their experiments, could they open the bottomless pit? Could they accidentally or on purpose open a portal essentially to hell, leading these things to escape around roughly the middle of the tribulation?
No one gets into full-time ministry to make money. At least no one should. Given that, Daily Renegade accepts donations from those who care to help keep us going. Now, because Daily Renegade does not want to be told by the government what we can and can't say, we're not 501c3, so your donations are not tax deductible, but that's not why you're giving anyway, to get something back for yourself. Speaking of which, we here are never going to promise that if you donate, God will reward you with even more financial success. We're not about making promises for God here. But what I can promise is your donations are very much appreciated and help the continuation of everything we do here at Daily Renegade to reach the world with the truth of the Bible. Also, as many of you know, my son Nathan has had some very serious medical issues that we are treating with good, all-natural and holistic remedies. But of course, those are very expensive and are not covered by insurance, so your donations help go towards his health care as well. If you can't afford to donate, you can always donate your time in prayer, which is far more valuable anyway, let's be serious. So pray for our wisdom, pray for God's guidance for us, and that we never lose focus on what's really important, which is using Daily Renegade as a light of truth that the world so desperately needs right now, especially in these times. As always, thank you so much for your generosity, and I pray God blesses you greatly.
That's fascinating. In your article, you go back through a number of iterations of dark ceremonies that have occurred around this location.
Yeah.
And you even mentioned what we call, the scapegoat, or Baphomet, the goat figure that everybody sees that stands for the devil. And this is connected somehow to CERN.
Yeah, in ancient pagan mythology, there was a figure called Cernunnos, which was basically this stag or this goat kind of false god. But there's connections there historically. The name is literally Cernunnos, so CERN is the beginning of the name, but there's also connections with that to Baphomet. And then, like you mentioned, that all connects to the satanic imagery around the goat, like Azazel.
What Josh is talking about in his article is there is a long history of evil behind what is today called science, focusing right down on CERN. By the way, in the February Prophecy Watcher, his article is really worth reading. You want to find out how to get the magazine? Here's how.
10 years ago, we began an exciting journey, a mission dedicated to spreading the good news of the soon return of Jesus. Our passion for teaching Bible prophecy is what drives us to warn the world of events that are soon to come. In the last 2 years, tens of thousands of prophecy watchers from all over the world have subscribed to our monthly magazine, The Prophecy Watcher. Our first Too Good to Be True offer came with 8 bonus DVDs. Our second offer came with 10 bonus DVDs. But our 10-year anniversary offer is even better. 12 DVDs on Bible prophecy can be yours when you subscribe to our 48-page full-color magazine for just 1 year, print or digital format, all for a gift of $50, with shipping included in the USA. The prophets of the Bible predicted a series of end-time wars, and we're seeing the final pieces of the puzzle fall into place. The enemies of Israel are on the doorstep, just as the Bible predicted some 2,500 years ago. The Prophecy Watcher magazine includes the writings of dozens of prophecy experts like Gary Stearman, Mondo Gonzalez, L.A. Marzulli, Bill Salas, Josh Peck, and many others, writing on fascinating subjects like the Rapture, the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Red Heifer, the World Economic Forum, the Global Reset, digital currency, the Mark of the Beast, the Nephilim, and the Antichrist's beast system of global control, things you will likely never hear about in church. 12 bonus DVDs will introduce you to Ezekiel's Gog and Magog War and the road to Armageddon. We'll examine the supernatural side of the Bible as we investigate controversial issues like the Nephilim, government UFO cover-ups, and the Shroud of Turin. We'll address the Luciferian Rebellion, a mutiny that changed heaven and earth forever. Speaking of heaven, you'll enjoy Mondo's glimpse into God's creation as he explores the stunning beauty of the stars and galaxies, seen through the lens of our Psalm 19 observatory cameras. 12 issues of the magazine, plus 12 bonus DVDs, a $180 value, now available for your gift of $50 to support our worldwide television outreach. Care to become a fellow Prophecy Watcher? Just visit our online bookstore at prophecywatchers.tv. Partner with us today and help us take the message of the soon return of Jesus to the whole world.
Well, we're back with Josh Peck, and where should we take up at this point, Josh?
Well, we talked about Azazel, and actually, I want to give credit where credit's due. You brought that connection up, and then you got my gears turning. And I remember a while ago researching the timing of Revelation 9, and specifically the abomination of desolation. And in my research, I've written about this. I found that most likely the abomination of desolation during the tribulation happens at the Day of Atonement. In the Day of Atonement ritual, it takes half an hour to complete the part that has to do with the Holy of Holies, the cleansing of that. Well, we know that the Antichrist is going to desecrate the temple, and there's silence in heaven for half an hour. Well, to me, I just put the pieces together, and I think that probably happens on the Day of Atonement. I don't know exactly, and he's going to desecrate it in some way, who knows how. But right after that, he kills the two witnesses, and then Revelation 9 happens. The bottomless pit opens. So there's been this question, we have Azazel, the scapegoat. We have the Antichrist and the desolation of abomination happening on the Day of Atonement. Right after that is the opening of the bottomless pit. So could CERN, with all of this goat imagery, with the Cernanos, Baphomet, all this goat imagery, could that possibly have something to do with the opening of the bottomless pit during the tribulation, if CERN is even still around at that time? If not, maybe some other particle collider or something. But it's led people to wonder that, and I think for good reason.
But somehow the symbols of evil that we think of as Christians have become infused into CERN.
Yeah, they even have a statue right in front.
Tell us about that.
Oh, man. So, it's called the Shiva Statue of Destruction. And basically, it's from Indian mythology. But when you look at it, it looks like Satan coming through a portal of flames. And in the article, I go through the whole story of what it actually means in the Indian epic, and it's this Nataraja dance, of this cosmic dance to destroy the universe, essentially, so it could be rebuilt again. And when you think about what the Antichrist comes to do, it basically destroying the world in a sense to rebuild it in his own image. I mean,
right.
The symbolism matches up really perfectly. And then, you look at the statue and it really looks like a satanic being coming right out of a fiery portal.
Now tell us about the goat head in its connection to CERN. Because
the main thing is going back to the Roman ruins that were found there, and how they connect Apollyon and Abaddon, but also the ancient false god Cernanos, who had it's a stag, but it's still the same kind of shape. That kind of had it's a false fertility god in a sense. And then you can, there's direct connections from Cernanos to Baphomet, which in occult and a lot of pagan work, but mainly occult, is an important, really super evil deity, of course, to us, but very important to them. And so that all connects into modern day with the imagery that they have now. So very, very strange. Not a lot of Christian imagery going on there at CERN. It seems to be all satanic.
So you have a fertility god, and here in your article you mentioned the Cerne Abbas giant.
Yeah.
And you mention again the figure of the goat in connection with that symbology.
Yeah.
And as you go through this article, and by the way, it's definitely worth a read because it'll make a connection in your mind. Going all the way back to the high priest sending the scapegoat into the wilderness, this is a story that has early origins, and it has an outcome because, as we know from the Bible, there's going to be an ultimate battle in the heavens.
That's right.
And the figure of the goat figures strongly into that battle.
Yeah, and then we even see, because we know who wins, Jesus obviously wins, and we see after that there's a separation between the followers of Jesus, those who were doing the right thing, the sheep, and then the goats. There's the sheep and the goat nation. So they have that moniker, they have that image of being goats because of who they followed, which was the Antichrist.
Now, what are they going to find if they find what they want to find at CERN? That is to say, there's been great hope among scientists to rise to the next level of physics.
Yeah, they've been talking about wanting to create some type of communication system to send particles into higher dimensions to see if anything talks back, and they have a whole system on how to do that.
Yeah,
And-
hyperdimensional travel.
Yep,
Now-
and we know the only thing that's going to be messaging them back is going to be satanic, but they probably will have, they're liars, they'll probably have positive messages at first, we're of a higher dimension, we've just been waiting for you to ascend to this level, and we'll talk to you and guide you and everything, but I think really what they're going to find out, what they're actually talking to, is exactly what shows up in Revelation 9, that locust army.
Now, you mentioned the book of Jasher, and as one of the sources, when you talk about the goat, when you talk about the whole idea that surrounds this is a false religion.
Yeah.
And by the way, not too long ago, I don't remember exactly when, but there was a parade of costumed worshipers that marched near CERN. What were they marching for?
I think it was for the opening of the Gothard Tunnel, but that was like the excuse. But really, I think that they were just praising their pagan deities and stuff, and just wanted an excuse to do that.
They were praising the figure of Lucifer.
Oh yeah,
the goat.
Yep.
And you make a pretty good point in your article about that. You have to read this to get all the details. It's a very detailed article, but worth it because you can get a picture of what mankind is doing today to find redemption in ways other than the Lord Jesus Christ. And, humanity is looking for redemption in all the wrong places.
That's right.
And I think your article is worth the read because it really points that out.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, and that's the main thing is these people, we have eternity in our hearts. We all know that there's something beyond this. Just intrinsically we know it. And these people are looking, just like you said, they're looking for the answers in the wrong places. It's good to have the questions, but the way that they're going about finding the answers is wrong. And a lot of the motivation there is because, well, if they discover higher dimensional entities, they don't care how people live their lives. But if they go to Christianity, they have to be accountable to God that actually does care about how they live their lives, and not a lot of people want to do that. They want to be essentially their own God, so they fall into these other pursuits, which really is just going to lead them to demons and fallen angels, unfortunately.
Now, we talk about CERN, C-E-R-N, which is an acronym that came from what in English reads as the French Council for European Nuclear Research, I guess. So, but in English it comes out CERN.
Yeah.
And the N stands for nuclear, I take it.
Yeah, that's right.
And so what they're doing here, on a very high level, is looking, I think, for a new way to worship.
I agree. And they're using science to go about it, and it makes perfect sense that the Antichrist will help facilitate that even more in the future when the tribulation begins.
Now, what's happening now at CERN as we're talking?
The most recent headline that I saw was that cancer could soon be cured at places like CERN. And I kind of laughed because obviously cancer is a really horrible thing. I have a son that survived cancer. It was just 3 years of a horrible battle, and it's terrible. But a lot of times when scientists want to do something, they see it through rose-colored glasses. They'll present it in the most altruistic ways possible, like Elon Musk with the brain chip stuff. Well, it's going to give sight to the blind. It's going to give hearing to the deaf. And they're not looking at what else it could be doing. So now when I see a headline that says CERN might cure cancer, it's a red flag to me of like, okay, what's really going on though? This is the story they want us to believe. What's actually happening behind the scenes? And that's why I continue in this research, because I think there's a lot more going on there than we're aware of.
So we watch CERN, and you watch CERN very carefully, as sort of a magnifying glass of society at large. It focuses the beam down to where the top thinkers of the world gather together to try to find ways of bringing humanity up to a new level. And you could call it almost a form of worship.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, when you think about this communication system that they want to set up, and there have been plans about this for over a decade. It's not a conspiracy theory. Brian Greene talked about it in a PBS I think it was PBS documentary years and years ago. They already have a way of doing it. The missing piece is gravitons. They need to learn how to manipulate gravitons, but I think they're really close to that. But yeah, when you think about what that really is, it's sending a message to a higher power. What is that if not prayer? And it's seeking their intelligence. It's seeking their guidance. What is that if not worship? So whether they know it or not, by doing this, they are going after the same false gods that humanity has always went after. They're just going about it in a roundabout kind of different way. They're using science to get there rather than religion and spirituality.
Or, in other words, science meets religion.
That's right.
CERN. If you'd like to read about this, our February issue of the Prophecy Watcher contains this wonderful article by Josh Peck. Right now, I'd like for you to join us in just remembering what we did last Christmas in Branson.
We all know what Genesis 1:1 says. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. It seems so simple, but acknowledging our miraculous creator is not what they have in mind. Josh Peck has looked beyond the obvious to ascertain CERN's real agenda and who is behind it. Is it a harmless scientific project with altruistic goals for mankind, or something else? There has been great controversy over CERN's clandestine activities and the environmental disasters their experiments might unleash. Josh spoke of the opening of the bottomless pit in the book of Revelation, while others believe CERN could create a hole in the veil that separates heaven and earth, allowing demons easy access to our planet in the tribulation. Then there's the occultic connection that seems to surround CERN. The old gods seem to occupy a prominent place here. Is this another attempt by Satan to destroy God's creation and remake it in his own image? It wouldn't be the first time this ancient battle between Jesus and Lucifer has moved to planet Earth. Josh Peck has been a featured speaker at several of our prophecy conferences. We've chosen two of his best presentations: Is CERN Opening Demonic Portals? And Afterlife, Unraveling the Biggest Mysteries of Life, Death, and Beyond. These two messages on DVDs can be yours for your gift of $20 or more, with shipping included in the USA. When you purchase the entire Branson conference featuring 23 experts and 43 messages, we'll send you the entire conference on 22 DVDs. The conference set includes Josh's live conference message on CERN, plus another DVD, a 90-minute investigation on CERN from Josh and Doug Woodward. Josh's third bonus DVD on the afterlife is also included as an added bonus, all for your gift of $100, a savings of $25, with shipping included in the USA. Simply call the toll-free number you see on your screen or visit us online at prophecywatchers.tv. For our international friends, please note that additional shipping fees do apply and all prices listed are in US dollars. We like to stay on the cutting edge at Prophecy Watchers. We believe CERN could play a part in the future of mankind. We're watching the final pieces of the prophetic puzzle fall into place. We hope you're watching too. God bless you for your support of this important ministry.
And we're back. Thanks for joining us today. We've had a fascinating conversation with Josh Peck, who, by the way, is employed here at Prophecy Watchers. And Josh is a wonderful writer. You've got a good style, shall I say.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
And a great gift. And you make me want to turn pages.
Well, I take that as high honor. Thank you.
Yeah. So how do we conclude this idea of ancient connections to CERN? CERN supposedly may be the most modern, if you will, of all scientific endeavors, yet it has ancient roots.
Yeah.
Very, very ancient roots.
Very much so. And I think this is stuff that all Christians should be aware of, at the very least aware of, if not fully invested in. But also, there's two extremes here, because some Christians want to say, well, then we just shouldn't even deal with science at all. And I would say that's too far. Science in itself is amazing. And when you have proper science, it goes right in line with the Bible. and the two don't disagree, because what science really is it's studying God's creation. So if you take it like that, the problem is scientists have their own interpretations. So we can keep the experiments, the observations that are made, the mathematics, but the interpretations of what those experiments mean, that depends person to person. But then there's another way that it could go too far, is like, okay, well, if science is good, then let's just accept all of it. Well, again, it goes back to the interpretations, because there's a lot of things that scientists say, especially the atheistic ones, that we as Christians just would not agree with. But they'll use this language, they'll use this really complicated language to almost fool you into thinking that they know what they're talking about. I heard a physicist say one time, well, we know that there's no afterlife because there's no quantum field to take the information anywhere. That's nonsense. That it sounds smart, but it's really not saying anything. And this guy, this physicist, said this in a debate with a Christian. So we have to be careful about just how they speak, what they're saying, and what the actual science says. Because again, I don't think CERN is going to be able to cure cancer. A lot of times these things are spun in ways to just get people on board or to get funding. That's a big part of it too. So I would say definitely keep on track with the science, but pay attention to the rhetoric.
Josh Peck, it's been great having you here.
Always great to be here, Gary. Thank you so much for having me back.
We'll talk again soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime.
I'm Gary Stearman. Hey, keep watching. We are.
The media ministry of Prophecy Watchers exists only through the faithful prayer and financial support of friends like you. To find out how to help us, please visit our website at prophecywatchers.com.
All right. So hopefully you enjoyed that. So like I said, the second half of this episode, we are going to get into CERN in Bible prophecy. Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed the first half of this episode of the Sharpening Report. If you are a Bible-believing Christian who opposes the kingdom of darkness trying to run the world right now, then you are a renegade to the satanic system. We here at Daily Renegade wear that badge proudly. So, if you're a renegade as well, and you want to see the rest of this video, head on over to dailyrenegade.com right now and get a membership today. Not only will you get the rest of this video, but you'll get our full catalog of Sharpening Report episodes and Daily Renegade update videos on topics such as Bible prophecy, science, technology, the Nephilim, aliens, and so much more. All of our episodes at Daily Renegade are early access, so as a member, you'll get the videos before anyone else does. Daily Renegade also offers videos not available anywhere else due to social media censorship. We also have a community page only for members where we can all fellowship together without fear of censorship. It's basically the best of Facebook and YouTube rolled into one without any of the garbage. Memberships are only $10 a month or $100 a year, and if you can do it, I suggest getting the $100 a year because it's cheaper in the long run, and essentially you get 2 months for free that way. So come join our family of renegades at dailyrenegade.com right now. The link is in the description below, and we'll see you there.